Hey there, toy collector friends and Transformers fans alike. Welcome back to the channel. I'm the Triple TC, that's the time travelling toy collector, and this is another entry into the Transformers Studio Series 86 subline. It's Transformers Studio Series 86 number 25, and it is Autobot Blaster and Eject. And I have to start this by saying I've done something that I always said I wasn't going to do, and that was essentially double dip on a figure that has just been very minorly repainted. You may remember back in the sort of early days of my starting to collect this range, and in the infancy of the range itself, they released a sweep figure, and it was an identical mould. I think the only thing that was swapped were the hands from one side to the other of Scourge. Which makes sense because the sweeps all look like Scourge, so I get the logic of it, but I didn't purchase it because it was essentially Scourge with with the hands painted slightly differently and I think swapped around. And so somebody explained to me, without using profanities or insults, what made me double dip and pick up this version of Blaster. What I will say is, I am very pleased that I have done. I do really like this version of Blaster. I am a big fan of the new detailing around the chest, around the face. Again, I don't know if you can how well you can see that there's the red dots inside the feet there, which is more, you know, I mean, yes, there's the screen accuracy, but there's also the original toy accuracy as well, which that also mirrors from the original Blaster figure. But yeah, don't get me wrong, I love the Blaster figure. I absolutely love it. I loved it when it came out in the Kingdom range. I was very excited. Again, I thought, well, we're not likely to see a better Blaster turn up in this range. And technically, we haven't seen a better Blaster turn up in this range. We're seeing the exact same Blaster turn up in this range. He's just had the repaint. And just for anyone who is so far unaware, here is Kingdom Blaster. And there are, you know, aside from, you can see that he doesn't have the red dots in the feet. He has the clear plastic on the chest unit. Whereas this one doesn't. And again, when we actually go into the chest, we've got Eject in there, so I'm just going to stand them next to each other, and we have, you know, the clear plastic Eject, and we have the cartoon accurate colouring Eject. So, you know, what possessed me to do it? Honest to goodness, I wish I could give you an answer. I don't have one. To the point where I'm now wondering, oh, do I need to go back? I thought I had a crisis there. Do I need to go back and now get the Scourge, sorry, the Sweep, same difference, figure, and see if I can pick that up at a convention or something. So yeah, I'm kind of in a situation where I'm going, what has prompted me to do this? Because you can see they're the same figure. I mean, if I were doing a review per se, in order to say to you, do you want to buy this figure, then my go-to answer would be, well, if you've already got the Kingdom figure, aside from the deco on this, then there's nothing really to sell this to you. They are identical. I've not transformed him yet, and to be honest with you, when I was getting ready to do this, I was thinking, well, I'm not going to bother, because I've done both. I've done the transformation, and for both Eject and for Blaster in my Kingdom Blaster and Eject video, so it's very similar. But what I am aware of is the fact that the finished product in boombox mode is a bit different. Again, due to the decoing and the lines, there's a lot of black line detailing on Kingdom that doesn't appear on this sort of screen version of Blaster. So again, this is, from an appreciation point of view, I think it's lovely that we're seeing the attention to detail that is appropriate, I would say, for a Studio Series 86. I think where I'm a little bit disappointed in myself is that I may have been part driven by FOMO, sort of fear of missing out on getting this figure. But I also am very aware, acutely aware really, that I do want this sort of screen accurate, in heavy inverted commas, around the animated figures for Studio Series. So, you know, I'm a little bit at an impasse here, because what worries me is how much of this are we now going to see moving forwards, because this is a straight up simple repaint. I know we've got other Studio Series figures coming out. I've still got a couple of pre-existing Studio Series figures to look at that I've not properly unpackaged yet, so I will be bringing those to the screen as soon as I can. But I've held so far Studio Series 86 figures as the pinnacle, if you like, of G1 re-engineering and retooling and bringing them back. That's why with some of the mini bots that we've seen released, and I talked about this in the previous video, some of the mini bots that we've seen released as deluxe classes, for example, across Studio Series range, but also in the Legacy United, maybe a couple in the Kingdom, in the War for Cybertron range as well, where we've really seen that G1 aesthetic being brought to life with modern sensibilities and modern engineering. And again, I don't know that we'll ever see that level of accuracy again in any future iterations. By accuracy, I mean sort of homage to the G1 form. I know we've got Studio Series 86 Bumblebee coming soon, and that's a figure that some people have had in hand already or had a chance to look at early, thanks to Hasbro sharing that, which is great, because again, that they've gone very much for comic book slash movie accuracy slash toy accuracy, where it's more the Penny Racer look than it is a VW Beetle look. And goodness knows we've had plenty of VW Beetles and Kamara looks over the last few years, so it's quite nice to have something that takes us back to that sort of Penny Racer. I've not seen it, I've not had it in hand yet, so I can't comment. I'm just basing it on what other people have been fortunate enough to see and show. I will transform Blaster up, and I will transform Eject up, just so you can see how they look in their alt modes. It does mean, of course, that I'll have Blaster in his boombox mode and Eject in his robot mode, in the opposite version of what we have here. But you know, if you want to see it other way around, you can go and watch the Kingdom video. But I will of course do the transformation off screen. I don't think I'm going to experience any problems with this transformation, he says, touching wood, but I didn't with the first one, and I do remember it being a really fun and enjoyable transformation because I loved the gimmicks of it all. So I'll feed back to you on that just to confirm that's still the case in a few seconds. But yeah, whilst I'm transforming him, please do take a second to like the video, it really helps. And also, if you can, drop a subscription to the channel. It's completely free and it absolutely helps me get to my next subscriber milestone, which is so important to me and to the channel, and helps me carry on bringing you videos such as this one. Thank you so much. Let me go and transform him, you do some clicking, and we'll all be back here before you can say go and check your camshaft. And as if by magic, all transformed up, we have Blaster and Eject. It just occurred to me, actually, whilst I was busy transforming him, and again, I can give it the transformation a clean bill of health. He was a little bit stiff, a little bit stiffer than I remember the Kingdom Blaster being, but he was a bit stiff. I think it's mostly because he's new and he's just out of the box, so it doesn't feel like it's a design flaw or a quality assurance issue. I just think he was new and a bit stiff. I didn't actually get any significant resistance. A little bit of jiggling and gentle cajoling didn't resolve. But yeah, it occurred to me that I haven't shown the packaging, which is remiss of me. This is the Studio Series 86 packaging, 8625 Studio Autobot Blaster and Eject. There we have Blaster in his on-screen colours and Eject in his. It's the standard packaging, Transformers the movie, Transformers to Karatomi, blah blah blah. A nice close-up of Blaster and Eject there on the side. Product shots on the back, you've already seen the product shots, but there they are. And there's the base of a display. which I've already taken out, and Eject has taken a tumble, so that's a good opportunity to pick him up. Yeah, Eject is very nice in this colour scheme, I have to say. Let's go a little bit closer for you, but he is very, very nice in this colour scheme. Autobot logo there in the centre of his chest. He has the minimal articulation, but then he is a cassette bot, so it is what it is. But there is some nice shoulder articulation, as well as the sort of elbow ball joints, and outward manoeuvrability. There's no waist, funnily enough, but there is knee and hip, as you'd expect. Nothing at the feet, but all in all, very, very nice. Head articulation, ball joint, wibbly wobbly, all of the stuff you would expect to see. And all in all, a really nice sort of a little addition to the set. Would I have liked to have seen a different cassette bot, given we'd already got Eject in the exact same mould previously, albeit the filled in colours? I would have done, but I understand we're going to be getting that separately anyway, via another Studio Series 86 release, but I'll hold judgment on that because it sounds a bit peculiar. Anyway, let me put him down to the side for a second as we pick up the main event. I'll just zoom out again for you there, just so we can get the whole thing in shot. But yeah, here we have Blaster in his boombox mode. I've attached the gun at the back to give the sense of it being an aerial, but that's how it tabs in. There are some other options for where you put it. I'm choosing to put it there. Very straightforward, some very nice panel work, but you can see, I'm sure, the difference there between this and the Kingdom version is a lot of this had black line, thick black line art on it that really helped pull out some of the detailing. Again, we have the various knobs, etc. here for volume and balance and so on. We have the buttons. We still have that issue of the gapping either side of the buttons, but it's not huge. You know, it's not a tremendous problem. And again, if we open this up, I hope you can see it. It's quite hard to see, even with the lighting. But there's some lovely little detailing of the cassette deck inner workings in there, which I do think is a nice touch. And again, it's the sort of thing that of old we perhaps wouldn't have seen that. The rest of it, it looks like the mechanisms of a robot. We do have a back, which is kind of okay, but it still doesn't really look like a boombox. I mean, I suppose we could see where batteries would go, although these days it would be a USB charger, for example. But yeah, overall, the figure itself stands the test of time. And when you think about what this originally looked like, so just for a bit of a flashback, bit of fun flashback comparison, here is G1 Blaster. I never owned a G1 Blaster as a child. I picked this up when I first started collecting. Actually, one of the first ones I managed to get hold of that helped me get into collecting was this Blaster. I have to just elevate it up so you can get a nice look at his face there. But yeah, you can see he's worn. He's a thing of his time. But you know, what's nice is that these new designs have taken the effort to adequately, let's say adequately, at the very least adequately, on a G1, whilst at the same time upping the ante around the engineering, and again, as I've mentioned before with the Studio Series 86 line, particularly giving us that G1 imagination quality, the quality of what we imagine these things were able to be and be like back in 1986 and around 1986, when we were living through the TV series and the Marvel comics, and what we had to work with. Just to bring it back in again, no judgment here, Blaster, but was a brick. And ironically, one of the I don't know, mass shifting, etc., but one of the Transformers that turned into one of the smallest disguises towers over the likes of the Autobot and Decepticon leaders of the time. But you know what? That is the beauty of using our imaginations, and that's something that continues to this day. Do I recommend Studio Series 8625? If you don't have Kingdom Blaster, then 100% I recommend it. If you're a completist and you want all of the Studio Series figures, then you don't need to ask me if I recommend it. You're going to get it regardless, a bit like I've done. Do I regret it? No. I think it looks lovely. I think the aesthetic is really good. Am I a little bit miffed that it's such a heavy reuse of well, a complete 100% reuse of the Kingdom mould. A little bit miffed, but then what? It was such a good mould. It was such a successful toy. I don't know how they could have done anything with it. To be honest, if I were them, I would have just held off releasing it as a Kingdom toy and release it like this, and it would have been brilliant. But instead, they've sort of given themselves an opportunity to receive some negative press about encouraging people to double dip and all that sort of stuff, which again, depending on your perspective, is absolutely fine if that's what you want to do and you can afford to do. But if added value in real terms, in rational terms, I'm not sure if there is any. But I really like the mould, so I'm glad they have used it. I'm glad we didn't take a backward step with Studio Series 86. I do wonder, my concern, I suppose, is that if this is their sort of opening salvo, and of course we've also got the mould mates of Ratchet and Ironhide, which has always been the case, you know, always been the case in terms of those two figures. So there's history there, but I suppose I'm just a little concerned how far this will go in the future and what we will see in the future being reused for Studio Series 86, given how much of the early Studio Series 86 was brand new molds. I just think as the universe of Transformers toys has expanded over the last couple of years, they're giving themselves a lot, and you would do as a business. Let's not pretend it's not a business. They're not there to charitably support our collections, so they do have to do a bit of this, and I fully accept that. But I'm just mindful of what we will see being repurposed, and I'm just hoping that the repurpose was always in the minds of the engineers when they were developing those other figures, because I don't want the Studio Series 86 line to be the afterthought rehashed versions of other figures that were successful. This is the line that for me deserves the G1 screen accurate movie 86 love. So please don't rehash other line toys as an afterthought to give us the characters from the screen. Would be my personal inner monologue around that I've now let out into the world. So apologies. Anyway, thank you very much for sticking around for the last 20 minutes or so or thereabouts. I appreciate you've got a lot to be doing and you're very, very busy. So thank you for sharing 20 minutes of your life with me. If you've liked what you've seen here, have a little look around the channel. There's stuff that's more Transformers, of course. There's Doctor Who, there's Star Trek, there's Star Wars, there's G.I. Joe, there's Battlestar Galactica, there's Jerry Anderson. There's so much stuff, and there's lots of random stuff as well. Have a little poke about and see what's there. There might be something that tickles your fancy. Anyway, I hope you do have a little look around. I hope you've enjoyed this. I hope you've liked the video. And a final reminder, if you wouldn't mind to subscribe if you haven't done so, it really does help get me towards that next milestone. I have been the Triple TC, that's the time traveling toy collector. You've been a wonderful, wonderful audience staying with me. This has been Studio Series 8625 Blaster and Eject. And yeah, I'm really, really pleased to have had you with me on this ride. I look forward to seeing you in a future or indeed a past video. Just remains for me to say that a thing of beauty really is a toy forever. Take care. Bye-bye for now.